Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, what do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you one clip to watch. It's a doozy. It's from Australia, the state of Victoria. You know that Australia seems to be ground zero for really trying to hammer their own population, their own electorate, if you can even call it a democracy anymore, into the ground, forcing them to comply with stuff they don't want to comply with, as you've already seen, I should imagine, and as you're about to see here. This is the state of Victoria in Australia. This is a cafe. It has some customers in there. The customers voice their displeasure, and you're going to see this, towards these two bald-headed, burly, big, tattoo-laden, in one case, ex-servicemen, who have been employed by the state to intimidate and force people to comply. It is no coincidence that the state of Victoria has employed two huge men, bald-headed, tattooed from arsehole to breakfast time, okay, to force people to comply. It's no coincidence that those two people are the ones trying to get people to comply. Imagine if the man behind the counter was a browbeaten 68-year-old pensioner. She would comply, wouldn't she? But the people here, these two, you-know-what camp guards from Germany in the 1940s, wink wink, they would be not out of place at all there, right? But they don't get the response they think they're hoping for. So let's get into this clip. It's an excellent one. It shows you that there is still some fire in the bellies of ordinary decent folk out there, especially in Australia, which seems to be like the ground zero for it. So we'll get into the clip now. If you haven't yet though, please like the video if you find it informative, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell and share this video around. We also have a membership scheme now. We have 8 amazing, beautiful members who support the Hoggcast by hitting that join button down there. There is a link in the description below. And they financially support the Hoggcast, which helps me bring you these videos. And I'm humbled and honoured that I have 8 members. And if you want to join them, you can too. Anyway, let's go. Okay, so as usual, we'll watch through the clip. After we've watched it all, we'll go back, I'll play it again and stop it intermittently to make some of the points that I'm just bursting to make. And really I am. I've got a lot to say about this one. Anyway, let's go.
This is getting to a serious point now. This is going to end up with some serious litigation. So as long as you're comfortable with your position...
We're all comfortable with this.
I'm not talking to you.
I'm talking to you.
Well, I've got no interest in you. Why would you involve yourself in this conversation? I'm not talking to you.
And you guys are doing...
What are you involved in? Go away.
No, don't put your hand
Well,
up.
go step back.
What you guys are doing is shit.
So this is what
And you need to know you're
Step
going
back.
to
We're trying to be civil here. You're trying to escalate the whole process.
You're with the mask, destroying children's lives,
This is what
people's
What
lives.
you're doing is shit, mate.
This is going to be serious, brother. There's going to be serious penalties, and I don't want you to be impacted.
You guys have got serious penalties coming your way.
Try and comply. You won't have this drama. So you're not interested? No. All right. So again, no QR code. Any reason?
Yeah, because it's a contract.
Okay,
I didn't agree to the
it's okay.
contract.
Any COVID safe plan?
What's COVID?
What's
COVID?
What is COVID? I'm just asking you. No, I'm trying to be reasonable.
You're not reasonable.
So I don't know. I'm not even talking to you.
You're being
I'm just trying to be reasonable. What a...
intimidated.
You're a bully. So I'm trying to be reasonable. Get on the way. If we wanted to help you, if I'm fine. You're not interested? That's fine. Sure. So paperwork, then will you tell us your name?
So their tactics, as you can see, it's very trying to make you feel guilty. It's very manipulative, trying to make you feel shame for not complying, for not doing as they command. The two big, burly, bald-headed, tattooed guys.
My paperwork's out, brother. It's not looking good. Well, I hope
It's not looking good for you guys.
This is
Seriously. We're going to remember this. So when this goes down, you're going to...
How can them two men, so-called men, live with themselves for doing... Imagine when they go home and like their children are like, oh, what do you do for work, Daddy? Or I go and get innocent people shut down, they'll get their businesses destroyed. Fine them into oblivion. Whilst he likely works on commission.
Going to be remembered.
Because every time we go up here, every time you're non-compliant, they're just going to keep doing this. Do you know what the fines are?
Yeah.
You can't. I'll just take words out for you, man.
No, they will. It's all good.
Just remember, we'll also remember.
We remember the Nazis.
We remember what you guys are doing.
Remember the Nazis.
Just remember,
You guys Nazi,
you remember what you guys are doing.
Nazi, nothing to do with this
got
guy.
that.
See a Nazi, it doesn't matter.
We have remember what you guys have done.
And that, which is the end of the clip, but it is the most refreshing part of the whole thing, because it shows you all of the customers all together, they're all awake now. They're wide awake, yeah, and they're all standing together. Because imagine how the average Australian feels, because for some reason it seems to have fallen the hardest in Australia. Really, they seem to be fully for it. I don't get it. And you've got the two meatheads. They're standing outside. Look, they're standing outside, but facing in to the cafe. They're doing that again as it's an intimidation tactic. It's a manipulation tactic. It's like, oh, we're still here. We're still here. That's it. Look, we're on the phone. We're about to make a phone call. If you don't comply, we're gonna do this and that. That's what it is. Anyway, we'll go back. We'll play it again, and I'll stop it intermittently to make the points that I'm just bursting to make.
Now, they're not. This is going to end up with some serious litigation. So as long as you're comfortable with your position,
We're all comfortable with this.
I'm not talking to you.
I'm talking to you.
I've got no.
So he immediately tries to shut him up. Those guys over there. Excuse me. Those guys over there are customers, and it is obviously being filmed by a customer. So if you listen to the voice, the man speaking, Baldy number one, the language he's using, it is really trying to get him to comply. If you listen, I'm sure these guys must be on a commission. They must be paid commission for every person they screw over.
End up with some serious litigation. So as long as you're comfortable with your position,
We're all comfortable with this.
I'm not talking to you.
I'm talking to you.
I've got no wings finger.
Why
would you involve yourself in this conversation? I'm not talking to you.
Because they're a community. That's why they're involving themselves in this situation. Why are you involving yourself in his situation? He's trying to run his business. He's just pouring coffee for people. Why are you inserting yourself into his situation?
You guys are doing.
What are you involved in? Go away.
Don't put your hand up.
Don't you find it extremely ironic that he's saying to the customer, go away? Like, that's what I'm saying. These guys, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, they don't get it, do they? They don't get that they're the one who needs to go away. This coffee shop, they're harming nobody. Nobody. They're doing nothing wrong. Right, so why didn't you go away?
What you guys are doing is shit.
This is what
Now, you need to know.
Step back. We're trying to be civil here.
The two bald-headed, big, burly, tattoo-laden guys are trying to be civil by trying to force you to comply with something that you never asked for and you don't need. Right? And he's trying to be civil. It's like the you-know-what camp guard from Germany in the 1940s. Right? You know, the particular group of people who were sent into camps where they were destroyed. Right? It's like a camp guard leading you to the chamber and saying, well, and if you kick up a fuss, they say, oh, well, I'm trying to be civil. But you're trying to destroy the man's business. You're going to give him a fine that is so ludicrously high, he can't afford it. He can't pay for it, so his business closes. And what gets replaced? A Starbucks.
Trying to escalate the whole process.
Destroying human lives.
This is what
People's lives. What you're doing is shit, mate.
It's going to be serious trouble. It's going to be serious penalties, and I don't want you to.
So the man who's just trying to be civil, you notice the word he's using. You have to comply. There's going to be serious penalties. right? I'm convinced they are on commission pay. I'm convinced that they are on commission.
You guys have got serious penalties coming your way.
Try and comply. You won't have this drama.
Try and comply, and we won't have this drama. Where have we heard that before? Comply, 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 all your way into the you-know-what chambers. In the you-know-what camps.
So you're not interested? No. Alright. So again, no QR code. Any reason?
Yeah, because it's a contract.
Okay,
I didn't agree to the contract.
Any COVID safe plan?
What's COVID?
What's
COVID?
What is COVID? I'm just asking you. No, I'm trying to be reasonable.
You're not reasonable.
Reasonable? So I don't know. I'm not even talking to you.
You're being intimidated.
And that's it. He gets it. I'm so glad that there are still people human beings in Australia capable of thinking. I thought, when I was a teenager, I thought that Australia would be and Canada, to be fair, I thought Australia and Canada would be the last places that people that look like us would find a refuge. Turns out those countries are the first to fall. You see, the globalists are always one step ahead of us, right? I mean, when I say globalists, I mean the people pulling the strings. I don't mean the NPCs, useful idiots you see who... you know the types. They've got God knows how many pronouns in their Twitter bio, and they have like 17 check marks, blue check marks, because they're just such good pros. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the top people, the real big shots, right? They're one step ahead of all of us. The one thing that they did not foresee is the rise of Donald Trump. That's why we saw the Rona situation develop during Donald Trump's presidency. That it was now or never. It's amazing how they foresaw this. Isn't it amazing how Fauci foresaw this? Isn't that amazing? You noticed how if the woke left-leaning narrative is the right one, have you noticed how there's always so many of these coincidences? Don't you find it a bit odd how many of these coincidences continue to happen?
I'm trying to be reasonable. Get on the way. We wanted to help you. If I'm fine.
We wanted to help you, he says. I'm just trying to help you get from A to B, from the barracks to the you-know-what chamber in one piece. I don't want you standing in a puddle with your bare feet and getting a cold foot as we take you to the chamber to be destroyed. Just trying to be civil, man.
That's fine. Sure. So paperwork, can we get to your name? What's your name?
You can look it up.
I hope it works out, brother.
He doesn't hope it works out. He's got a very thick Australian accent. For my American viewers, if you didn't get what he just said, then he said, "I hope it works out." But it's that, coincidentally, another coincidence is that kind of sly British type of humour in which they mean the opposite of what they say. He doesn't hope it worked out. He just asked for his name. He didn't get it. See, this guy thinks he has the right to get your name from you. He has the right to do this, to do that, to shut your business down. Why wasn't any of this ever put to the people? Put it to the people. Ask them. Ask the Australian people, do they want all of this? They won't put it to the people because they know the answer. And the fact that they don't put it to the people whilst knowing the answer should tell you all you need to know about them.
Not looking good. Well, I hope
It's not looking good for you guys.
This is guidance.
Seriously, we're going to remember this. So when this goes down, you're going to be remembered.
Now, what the customers are saying when this goes down, you're going to be remembered. Now, a huge, massive disclaimer. I am not suggesting or endorsing anyone else who thinks that some sort of physical issue should arise for these two men. I do not like these two men. I do not like what they're doing or what they stand for. I do not like the people who pull the strings behind them. But I'm just saying that I'm not wishing something upon them because then it starts a big cycle. What I am saying is those customers saying that they're going to remember. You know, it's not an easy thing to talk about, but as society slowly gets pushed and pushed and pushed towards anarchy, like a rubber band, there's going to be pushback, yeah? You're pushing and pushing and pushing people. Sooner or later, they're going to push back. That's what I'm saying. I'm not endorsing it. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I wish we could live in a 2021 that was like life in 1998. It was a good year, 1998. All the 1990s was. I said this on my other video yesterday. That being said, because we don't live in a fairy tale world where it's 1998, we live in a hyper-polarised, hyper-political 2021 with a dying Western civilization, and as a result of people being constantly pushed and humiliated and insulted, okay, and destroyed in many cases. They have their lives destroyed because they didn't want to take an experimental substance in their arm. All of that means that the rubber band will eventually push back in the other direction. It's such a hard thing to talk about because, you know, it is YouTube and that. But you could argue that if that situation ever arose, you could argue that it's justified. Because are we not a democracy? What does a democracy do if democracy fails? Who do the people turn to? What do they do? It's uncharted territory. It is uncharted territory.
Every time we come up here, every time you're non-compliant, they're just going to keep doing this.
Do you know what the fines are?
Yeah.
You can't. I'll just take words out for you, man.
No, they will. It's all good.
Okay.
Just remember, we'll also remember.
We remember the Nazis.
We remember what you guys are doing.
I remember the Nazis.
Just remember,
You guys Nazi
remember what you guys are doing.
Nazi number
It's serious, we got that,
yeah? See you, Nazi.
And they do need to know that that's what they are. Really, they are, in every sense of the word. Isn't it funny how the woke brigade, who always claim to oppose this ism and this ist, are always the ones who push it and engage in it. Always. Another one of those amazing coincidences. Funny how there's just so many of them, isn't there? I mean, it's almost as if all of these coincidences aren't happening and that there is a nasty agenda. Because it's one or the other. It's either an infinite chain of coincidences or we're being lied to and there's something dodgy going on. One of the two.
It doesn't matter. We have to remember what you guys have done.
I knew I wore commando pants today for a reason. So do they.
Yep, you know.
So you see, look, the shop is full of people who have had about enough of these two, the bald-headed, big, burly men with tattoos all over them. The idea is you are going to be intimidated into compliance, and that should show you that there's a very bad and malignant agenda behind it, in my opinion. Anyway, look, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think down below of this. It's very uplifting to see that Australians have had enough and they've started to push back. Remember the elastic band that I spoke about. If you haven't yet, if you found the video informative, subscribe to the Hoggcast, hit the notification bell and share the video around. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.